The Roman Empire, once a beacon of power and sophistication, crumbled in 476 AD, marking the end of an era that had dominated the Western world for centuries. From its ruins rose a new era, the Middle Ages, a time of transformation and rebirth. This period, spanning roughly 1,000 years, is often misunderstood as a dark age, shrouded in mystery and decline. However, this vast era, stretching to 1492 AD, was far from static or benighted. It was a time of dynamic change and significant progress. It witnessed the birth of new societies shaped by unique challenges and innovations, from agricultural advancements to the development of new political systems. To understand this complex period, historians divide it into three parts: the early, high, and late Middle Ages, each with its own distinct characteristics and milestones. The early Middle Ages, around 500 to 1000 AD, saw the rise of powerful kingdoms from the remnants of the Roman world, laying the foundations for modern Europe. The Catholic Church emerged as a unifying force, spreading its influence across Europe and becoming a central institution in medieval life. New forms of government and social organization like feudalism took root, creating a structured society based on land ownership and service. As Europe stabilized, the High Middle Ages, from about 1000 to 1300 AD, marked a time of growth and expansion. Population increased, trade flourished, and cities began to re-emerge as centers of learning and commerce, fostering a vibrant urban culture. This era also witnessed the construction of magnificent cathedrals and the rise of universities, which became hubs of intellectual activity and innovation. The late Middle Ages, spanning roughly from 1300 to 1492 AD, brought significant challenges and upheavals. The Black Death, a devastating plague, swept across Europe, decimating the population and disrupting the social order, leaving a lasting impact on the continent. Wars and religious strife further destabilized the continent, leading to widespread turmoil and change. Yet, amidst these hardships, the seeds of change were sown, paving the way for the Renaissance, a period of renewed interest in art, science, and the classical knowledge of antiquity. Imagine a world where your place is determined by birth, where your social status is fixed and unchangeable, where loyalty and obligation dictate your every move, and your life is governed by a strict hierarchy. This was the reality of feudalism, the dominant social system throughout much of the Middle Ages, shaping the lives of everyone from kings to commoners. At the top stood the king, the ultimate landowner, who held the highest authority and power, who granted land, known as fiefs, to nobles in exchange for military service and loyalty, ensuring their allegiance. These nobles, in turn, divided their land among lesser lords or knights, creating a network of vassals, who swore oaths of fealty and provided armed men in times of war ready to defend their lord's interests. At the bottom of this hierarchy toiled the peasants, the backbone of the feudal economy, who made up the vast majority of the population living and working in the villages. They worked the land, providing food and labor for the lords in exchange for protection and the right to farm a portion of the land, ensuring their survival. This system, while seemingly rigid, was bound by mutual obligation and dependence, creating a delicate balance. Nobles relied on peasants for sustenance and military support, essential for maintaining their estates, while peasants depended on their lords for protection and justice, ensuring their safety and well-being. The Church, a powerful force in medieval society, played a crucial role in maintaining this order, influencing every aspect of life. It not only provided spiritual guidance, but also wielded significant political and economic power, shaping the feudal world. Life in the Middle Ages was a tapestry woven from contrasting realities. For the peasantry, life revolved around the seasons and the land. Days were long and arduous, filled with back-breaking labor in the fields. They lived in humble dwellings, often one-room huts, and their diet consisted mainly of bread, porridge, and vegetables. Nobles, on the other hand, enjoyed a life of privilege and leisure. They resided in imposing castles, symbols of their wealth and power. Their days were spent hunting, feasting, and engaging in courtly pursuits. Their diet was rich and varied, featuring meat, game, and imported spices. Women's roles were largely defined by their social standing. Peasant women worked alongside their husbands in the fields, while noble women managed their households and raised children. However, regardless of their social class, women had limited rights and opportunities compared to men. Children, too, experienced vastly different upbringings. Peasant children began working at a young age, contributing to the family's survival. Noble children received some education and training in courtly manners and martial skills. Imagine a world where the sound of church bells filled the air, calling the faithful to prayer and marking the passage of time. In this world, faith permeated every aspect of life, from the grandest ceremonies to the simplest daily routines. This was the reality of the Middle Ages, a time when the Catholic Church reigned supreme over both spiritual and temporal matters. The Church was not just a religious institution, it was the center of learning, the arbiter of morality, and a powerful political force. It influenced every facet of life, from education to justice, shaping the very fabric of society. Cathedrals, towering architectural marvels, dotted the landscape, serving as testaments to the Church's authority and the people's piety. These magnificent structures were not just places of worship, but also symbols of the divine order and human devotion. Daily life was punctuated by religious rituals and observances. People attended Mass, celebrated religious holidays, and participated in community events centered around the church. They sought solace and guidance from the clergy, who played a crucial role in their spiritual and social lives. The church also played a pivotal role in education, ensuring that knowledge was preserved and passed down through generations. Monasteries served as repositories of knowledge, preserving ancient texts and fostering scholarship, becoming centers of intellectual activity. The Church established the first universities, centers of learning that would shape intellectual life for centuries to come, influencing countless minds. These institutions became the bedrock of medieval education, nurturing scholars and thinkers who would leave a lasting legacy. However, the Church's power was not without its shadows, as it wielded its influence with both benevolence and severity. The Crusades, a series of holy wars launched to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule, demonstrated the darker side of religious fervor and ambition. These conflicts left a lasting impact on both the East and the West, shaping the course of history. The Inquisition, a tribunal tasked with rooting out heresy, instilled fear and persecution, revealing the Church's capacity for intolerance and control. While the Middle Ages are often associated with religious dogma, this era also witnessed significant intellectual and cultural advancements. The Islamic Golden Age, which flourished from the 8th to the 13th centuries, had a profound impact on European thought. Muslim scholars made groundbreaking discoveries in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, which were transmitted to Europe through trade and scholarship. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century revolutionized the dissemination of knowledge, making books more accessible and affordable. This innovation would have a profound impact on the Renaissance and the Reformation. Universities, established under the auspices of the Church, became centers of intellectual inquiry, fostering debate and the exchange of ideas. Scholars like Thomas Aquinas sought to reconcile faith and reason, laying the groundwork for later philosophical movements. As Europe emerged from the early Middle Ages, cities began to re-emerge as centers of commerce and culture. Trade routes, both land and sea, connected distant lands, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and people. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes spanning Asia, connected the East and West, bringing luxury goods like silk, spices, and porcelain to Europe. The rise of cities led to the emergence of a new social class, the bourgeoisie. This group, composed of merchants, artisans, and craftsmen, challenged the traditional feudal order, accumulating wealth and influence through trade and industry. Guilds, associations of craftsmen and merchants, played a crucial role in regulating trade, setting standards for quality, and providing mutual support among their members. They became powerful forces in medieval cities, wielding significant economic and political clout. The Middle Ages, a thousand-year span often shrouded in misconception, was a period of profound transformation and enduring legacy. It laid the foundation for the modern world, shaping our institutions, beliefs, and worldview. The feudal system, while eventually fading, left its mark on European societies, influencing land ownership patterns and social hierarchies. The Catholic Church, despite its waning influence in the wake of the Reformation, continues to shape moral values and social teachings. The seeds of democracy, sown in the late Middle Ages with the emergence of representative assemblies and the growing power of cities, would eventually blossom in the centuries that followed. The Renaissance, a period of artistic, scientific, and intellectual flourishing, drew heavily on the rediscovery of classical learning preserved in medieval monasteries. While the Middle Ages may be over, its echoes resonate through time, reminding us of the enduring power of human resilience, creativity, and the constant ebb and flow of history.